Every Cat 3 on the planet who's out there racing a 5-10-year-old CAD 10 knows that the only thing you can do to make that bike any cooler is put on big deep dish carbon wheels. So today it is Princeton Carbonworks. Let's get into them. We're gonna unbox these things today. This is actually one of 3 sets that we just brought in to test. If you don't know Princeton Carbonworks, they're a new brand for Mike's Bikes. We just brought them in recently, so we have some of these guys in stock, but we can order pretty much anything in the line. We have 3 sets that we brought in so that we could test. We've got these, which are the Peak. We have another set that is called the Dual, and we have another set that is called the Grit. The Grit are the wheels that we currently have in stock, but of course, like I said, we'll have more over time. So if you know Princeton Carbonworks, you probably know them in one of 2 ways. One, because they're being sued by Zip, because the shape of these wheels, you'll see once we get them out of the box, looks a lot like their NSW line of wheels. And the other reason that you might know them is because Team Ineos Grenadiers runs these wheels despite their sponsorship obligation to Shimano. You'll see them running the wheels throughout the classics. You'll see some people running unbranded wheels at the Tour. And probably most notably, Filippo Ganna won the individual time trial world championship on a set of Princeton carbon wheels. So they obviously come with a pretty big pedigree. Another thing that they tend to come with is a pretty big price tag. In the world of aftermarket wheels, gotta say that these things range anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000 depending on hubs, but we'll look at those here in a second. Why don't we start opening it up and let's see what is inside the box. You get to watch me awkwardly unbox a giant box. All right, so protective gear, there are valve stems in that. I will remove those later. Wheel bags is always a must. Pro tip, wheel bags make great dog beds. All right, let's get to it. Taped in, all protected. Can we do another take of that? No? Okay. All right. With Princeton Carbonworks, one of the nice things about them is that there's a ton of options for how you can spec these wheels out. The wheels that Mike's Bikes is going to carry in stock, we will select a hub and a rim style, etc., to make sure that you've got your options that you want. But if you do want to do a special order, those are also available as well. You've got a ton of different options. You can choose what type of braking surface you want, whether you want a rim brake or disc brake model. You've got the ability to choose whether you want tubular or clincher. You've also got the choice of choosing any of a variety of different hubs. The wheels that we've got here have Industry 9 hubs, which are incredible, but you've also got the ability to pick between DT Swiss or even Princeton's house brand, which they're calling Tactic. So if you want to save a little bit on money as opposed to spending a bunch on the hubs, you've got the ability to keep the same great aerodynamic profiles of the rims, but you can also include a hub that was designed by them and works really, really well. Another really interesting thing that Princeton does is a rim bed that is completely without holes. Whenever you get a new carbon fiber wheel, for the most part, you're gonna end up seeing that on the rim bed in here. You've got holes drilled in it for where you tighten the spokes down. Princeton has kind of pioneered and put forward with a method of building the carbon fiber over a bladder, a mandrel or an internal mold that burns away in the process so that you don't have anything left inside of the wheel. You just have a hollow carbon structure, but you also don't have any holes, which also means you do not need to run a rim tape and that it is set up for tubeless straight out of the box. Okay, so moving on, let's talk a little bit about weight. Obviously there is a variety of different ways that you can build this up depending on what you've chosen for brake surface and what you've chosen for your hubs, but the Peak 4550 is what Princeton considers to be their lightweight or their climbing wheel. The other wheels that we have, the dual, are a deeper wheel and the grit are even shallower, but what you've got with these is a great all-around lightweight package. 1480. You want pounds? For all you Americans, that's 3 pounds, 5 ounces. All right, so let's talk aerodynamics. The Peak 4550 has a few things going for it. For one, it actually has some pretty good rim depth. The 4550 refers to its highest and its lowest rim depth. When you look at the lowest point here in between the spokes, that's going to measure out to be 45 millimeters tall. And when you look at the highest point where the spoke is actually pulling from, that'll be around 50 mil tall. Another thing that the Peak 4550 has going for it is a very narrow, which is maybe contrary to where wheels have been going lately, but a very narrow rim width. The internal width on these is 18.5 millimeters. Now, I think as wheels have started to get wider and wider, there is a great reason for that. It allows for more air volume in the tire, it allows you to run a lower pressure, it allows you to have more of the force going straight into the rim, and allows you to kind of have a better, softer ride quality. But there is a saying for years and years that narrow is aero. So one of the things that you're gonna get from having that really narrow rim depth is of course great aerodynamic performance. And then when you mix that back in with this shape of the rim, you end up with a package that is both very lightweight and incredibly aero. Talking a little bit more about the shape, Princeton Carbonworks calls the shape of their wheels sinusoidal. Can we put that on the screen somewhere, what that means? With that shape, you get a number of great benefits. For one, when we're talking about aerodynamics, you've got a wheel that effectively acts as though it is a deeper depth than it actually is. For someone like me who is always very timid in big crosswinds, what that means is that you're able to run a really nice deep wheel, or a wheel that performs as though it is much faster and deeper, but you are not going to get buffeted around by the wind like you would on a very deep wheel. So best of both worlds. That is just a little bit of an overview on Princeton Carbonworks and these wheels that we've got here with us. Like I said, we've got 3 sets of these, the dual, Peak, and grit, that we're gonna get out on the road. Once we have a review of those and how they actually ride, we can compare and contrast them a little bit more, and we'll bring back our feedback on where that is. If you have any questions on how to order a set of Princeton Carbonworks wheels, go ahead and give our online support team a call. Those guys are wizards. They will be able to find any question and answer that you may need, and can get a set of wheels on the way to you, just like that. That's all we got. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.